Imagine that your best friend is in physical pain. If you could take on their pain, would you do it? They may still be in pain, and you might take on more pain than they initially had. Is that what empathy is? Well, it is for mice. Hello, and welcome to What the What, the show about fun facts and a little bit of science. And today we're talking about mice and their incredible level of empathy. It's so powerful that they are able to take on pain and pain relief from other mice. Well, what does that mean exactly? Well, it's actually a lot like it sounds. There was a recent study on mice that showed that they are able to pick up on each other's pain and pain relief. The overall point of these studies is to get a better idea of what's going on with the human brain when empathy is lacking. There are certain disorders that cause some people to just not have empathy, like your boss. If you're enjoying this video, be sure to hit that like button down below and maybe leave a comment. I'd love to hear from you. We've all felt pain at some point in our life. You might be laying in bed right now from some accident causing you pain. And I'm so sorry that you had to go through that, but I am glad you're doing better. When we feel pain, it not only affects us in the physical sense, but emotionally as well. And sometimes we reach a level of depression that we seek out something, anything, to relieve us of that pain or depression. And depression is a powerful thing that's really hard for a lot of people to overcome, which leads a lot of people to abuse prescription medication. And while that is a video I plan to do, today we're going to be sticking to mice and empathy. If you find yourself carrying other people's emotions, then you're what's called an empath. Empathy is the ability to understand and share the emotions and feelings of others. And mice have found a way to take this beyond the levels of what humans can do. In the study we're talking about today, scientists would take pairs of mice, and in one of the mice, they would inject it with an arthritis-like inflammation to one of their legs. And then the other mouse would go unharmed. Then the two mice would be left together, and within just an hour, the unharmed mouse would take on the pain of the mouse that received the injection. And the mouse that was unharmed would show sensitivity in more places than the mouse that received the injection. And they felt the same level of pain. Mouse A would get the injection in the back left leg. Mouse B would then feel pain in the back left and back right leg. Once these mice were able to socialize together, they could see the pain from the other mouse, but the odors from the other mouse also triggered something in their brain that helped them understand the struggles that the other mouse was going through. So then, to switch things up, the scientists would inject both mice with that arthritis-like inflammation, but only one of them would receive a dose of morphine. Once they placed the mice back together again, they both acted as if they received the morphine for hours. Can you imagine that? If you and your friend were in a car accident and you both got hurt, and when you were at the hospital, they only had enough morphine to help your friend. So, to resolve the problem, they put you both in the same room so you could socialize. And before you knew it, you felt better too. How's that possible? To understand this, scientists watched the brain activity of these mice to see what areas were triggered during these moments of empathy. And the team saw neurons firing in the same area as humans when they experience empathy. Then they found neurons connecting that part of the brain with the part of the brain that influences motivation and social behavior. When the scientists interrupted that connection, the mice were no longer able to feel empathy towards pain or pain relief. Scientists found that these mice had to see and smell the other mouse in order to show empathy. Interestingly, they could not reach that moment of empathy if they could only see the mouse or only smell it. But if they could smell the mouse, they did show some interest. They also found that mice would show empathy towards other mice that they had not socialized with in the past, showing that humans really are the worst at caring for each other, and mice don't deserve to be in lab experiments. They also performed studies around fear. When mouse A was put in a situation that would trigger this emotion, mouse B had to visually see the action in order to empathize. Meaning when these actions happened in separate locations and then they gathered again to socialize, there was no lingering side effect of fear. But when mouse B could watch mouse A, they shared that fear. So they had to be able to view it in order to share that empathy. And that's still pretty incredible. I mean, when we see animals, especially something small like a mouse, we tend to disregard that they may have the same emotions as us. If scientists can crack the code to the empathic process, then they might be able to make a drug to help treat things such as psychopathy or social personality disorders. Finally, offering a way to fix your miserable boss because they don't care about anyone except for themselves. They just want you to get to work and produce, produce. And they don't care that the roads are covered in snow and that there's a advisory and you're almost spun out and died. And there's all kinds of accidents that are on the way to work anyway. And then you get to the mall that you're supposed to work at anyway, and you're just one out of 100 stores. But all the stores are closed, all of them. And then you get, well, how come you're not selling anything? Well, there's nobody here, not even like another store. I'm here all alone. And then the security guy goes by 10 minutes later and says, hey, we're closing the mall because nobody's coming out. Don't ever let anybody do that to you. I'll never let it happen again, and it's been 7 years and I'm clearly over it, right? As always, thanks for watching, and what did you learn today?